Holy crap, man, Ned said as he stood back up to his feet, rushing over to me and giving me a hug. It happened! Oh, I got one.
Okay, I get it, Ned. Let me go.
I said, pressing him off me. Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just so amped up. This is awesome. I mean, I really can't believe it, man. I was starting to get all down from all of those other symbiotes turning me down. And then this. It just made it all worth it. Oh my god. What are my powers? You said it's one of the king's candidates, right? That means they have to be killer powers. What are they, man? Come on, fill me in.
I don't know, Ned.
I said, scratching the top of my helmet, still bewildered by this entire thing. You've got to be shitting me. Ned has king's blood? This kind of feels like some sort of universal practical joke, Vicky said. Oh, shut it, Vicky. You don't even want one. You know what? I bet you're just jealous. I'm special. Oh, shut up. I can read minds. I'm plenty special enough already. Yeah, but do you have superpowers other than being able to read minds? Because I'm about to be able to move stuff with my mind and do all sorts of wicked stuff. Oh, I can't wait.
Nylea, what exactly are his abilities? I mean, well, I guess,
I said, as I began to swirl a ball of liquid steel into the air nearby so that I could focus Nylea's thoughts through it, once again using heavy metal ventriloquism, a trick that I had gotten a fair bit of use out of during the conflict earlier tonight. It came in plenty of use, making it sound as if my voice was coming from my friends when I was the one really talking. But I suppose that's neither here nor there, as Nylea's voice began to emit from the orb. Well, I must say this is definitely a surprise, Ned. I never expected you to be a bearer of king's blood. It's honestly very surprising. I know, I'm a surprising guy, Ned replied, still unable to wipe the smirk off his face. Okay, Ned. Well, it will take some time before Phileas is able to fully establish his connection with you, meaning he won't be able to telepathically communicate with you for at least a few hours. While he's doing that, I suppose there's no harm in explaining things, since he is your new symbiote, or at least his hatchling will be. Hopefully he is able to stay put, but if he runs into the same problem as me, at least I'll have company in the fish tank. Regardless, I suppose I should explain your abilities. Yes, please do, Ned said, excitedly looking at the orb. Okay, Ned. Listen closely. Phileas is the fourth in line, the fourth king's candidate, the weakest of the four, but this does not mean that he is weak by any measure. His ability is one of the 5 most powerful on my entire home world, for very good reason. I believe that it is also good to tell you that he, like me, produces an eternal substance, a mucus, a small amount of it each day. However, it is unlike the king's power. It is very different in many ways. Okay, so I'm a collector, like Keven, meaning that I'll get stronger the more of it that builds up, right? Each day I make more, and the more I collect, the stronger I am. Yes, that is correct, Ned, Nylea replied. However, as I said, the powers are far different for the 4th king's candidate, Phileas, and his bloodline. Yeah, but what are they? Well, okay. I'll explain the best I know. As it is Phileas's bloodline, I expect that he will know things that I do not. So you will most likely want to have a conversation with him in order to get more in-depth information. But for the time being, I'll explain what I can. As far as I know it, the power of the 4th is to produce a mucus, in much the same way that I produce my own. However, even at the very beginning, there is already a fundamental difference between the two. The mucus that I produce is already in a finished format. A finished format? Ned replied, cocking an eyebrow and looking at the orb curiously. Yes, Ned. That means that nothing else needs to be done to it. Once it is created, it remains in the state that is created in. It may change its form or function based on the desire of Keven, but the process has already been completed. This is where we reach the first fundamental difference between my abilities and those of Phileas. According to what I know, the mucus that Phileas produces emerges in an unrefined state. An unrefined state. Got it. Okay, now pay attention. When Phileas initially creates this fluid, or when you create this fluid, it will be sort of a white, fluorescent, gel-like substance. Sort of a slime or jello. Okay, producing slime. Got it. What next? Ned said, still smiling, wide-eyed as he stared at Nylea's communication sphere. Now, the next step in Phileas' ability is honing. This is the process by which you decide the purpose of the fluid. Decide the purpose? Ned replied, still unsure of what Nylea was getting at. Yes, this is one of the key differences between Phileas' ability and my own. While the power of the king can change its state and form, its function and purpose at will, from one to the other and back again, anytime you so choose it, Phileas' power is different. Each time you produce some amount of this mucus, you must designate a purpose for it. I am unsure of how many purposes there are in total, but I have seen at least 6. Each one radically differs from the next, with completely different characteristics. I am unsure of how long this honing process takes, but once you complete the honing process and designate a function, that fluid will not change from that function. It will remain for that sole purpose in that state forever. After it is honed into a specific purpose, it cannot be changed. Okay, so you're telling me that if I create a solid object, then it's just going to remain that solid object forever? No, that's not what I'm saying, Keven. Ned, as I said, the abilities of Phileas are different. He does not create solid objects, regardless of what his individual honing process turns it into. It always remains in much the same format, something akin to a slime, gel, or gelatin-like substance. What differs is the power that it emits or produces. For example, one of the honed colors is green. The fluid will change colors depending on the purpose that you give it. Green, specifically, is essentially a binding substance, like a rapid-acting glue. When applied to anything, it will basically adhere whatever it comes in contact to anything else. You can stick someone's arm to the floor, and I assure you they will be unable to remove it, regardless of how hard they try. It would simply be easier to destroy the floor, than break the bond of the fluid. So I produce crazy glue? Yes, that is one of the many variable abilities that Phileas can produce. He can also produce or hone the gel that he produces into a purple substance. This substance is especially effective in defensive measures, as it rebounds force. Rebounds force? Ned replied. Yes, Ned. Basically, whenever something comes in contact with purple fluid, the force of that impact is rebounded. It's completely shock absorbing. If you hit it with 100 pounds of force, that hundreds of pounds of force will simply go flying right back in your face, much like trying to hit a piece of rubber with a hammer. The hammer simply bounces back. Okay, so it's sort of a defensive measure. You can bounce back physical attacks using the purple stuff. That sounds pretty cool. Yes, it is very incredible. I use human rubber as an example, but to be honest, it is far more effective than rubber is when it comes to bouncing back external force. Phileas's previous wielder actually used this for mobility. They would place amounts of this purple substance on the bottoms of their feet. This would allow them to bound great distances. The amount of force that they put into the footstep being rebounded, massively increasing the overall force of the jump itself. Whoa, that sounds cool, Ned replied. And you're saying that I got like 6 of those? Well, 6 at minimum. Truth be told, I am uncertain of how many of the abilities that Phileas is able to produce. However, as I said, the limitation is that they are set. Every day that you produce, you must designate a purpose for the gel that you produce, and it cannot be changed afterwards. Okay, so far I can glue things and jump really far. And that's only 2 of them. Oh, this is gonna be so cool, Ned said, as happy as I think I've ever seen him.